Okay, I'd like to begin with acknowledging the traditional owners of the land, called the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting. I would like to pay respect to the elders both and past and present. So I'd like to welcome you all for the first workshop on the National De-Mentoring Program. This is the very first program that's been delivered by Deafblind Australia and Senses Australia. So we're really pleased to give this opportunity to both mentors and mentees. And I'm going to talk more about the program, of what involved, what the structure will look like, and why you are doing this program. So this is called the Terms of Reference. Actually, before we proceed to the Terms of Reference, I'm just going to tell a little bit of a story about Everest. It's quite an interesting story about a mentor. So when Sir Edmund Hillary stood on the top of the world as the first person to reach the summit of Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain, he did not stand there alone. Besides him was a Sherpa climbing guide named Mr. Norgay. In fact, we will never know which one of them actually took the historic first step. History, at least Western history, has assigned to honour to Hillary, but he has always maintained the achievement was something that the two men accomplished together. Hillary also insisted that this feat was something he could not have done without Norgay. Hillary knew mountain climbing, but he did not know that particular mountain, the way the Sherpas did. The Sherpas were a native to the area and had lived in the foot of the Himalayas for generations at altitude, where the foreigners had to spend weeks adjusting to the climatization. The outsiders, or the foreigners, needed companions who knew how to read the rugged terrains, the brutal climate, and the subtle shifts in the conditions that would make the difference between a triumphant summit and a deadly disaster. Even today, with advancements of climbing equipment, establishment of routes, and improved communication links between the climbers, the practice of utilising the expertise of Sherpa guides continues. Many climbers have now reached to the top of Everest, but it still remains the most sought after achievement in the career of most serious mountain climbers. And the Sherpas, who still live and work in the high altitudes, remain the vital link between the climbers and the top of the mountain. In some ways, people who experience eye and ear problems, or people with deaf blindness, who want to try new challenges, are like the mountain climbers at the base of the camps. They are not the first to reach for what life in the community can offer, but the path is still relatively new and the terrain is definitely challenging. Modern life is more complicated and competitive than ever before for people. This is especially true for people with deaf blindness. They need the guidance of those who have travelled the road of experience. They need to learn from those who know the terrain, who can help them avoid some of the pitfalls and assist them in identifying and reaching their goals. They need the confidence, and that only comes from someone who has tried and sometimes failed, but then has come back to try again. Sir Edmund Hillary did not reach the top of Mount Everest on his first attempt, but he and Mr. Norgay together became the first ever to make it to the top. After them, many others who followed in their footsteps also succeeded. The mentoring relationship is a dynamic one. Each of the individuals involved contributes, and each one benefits. For a mentoring relationship to exist, each partner leads the other. In this way, the mentoring relationship is automatically empowering. That's a story on the Everest with how the Sherpas worked in a mentoring role with Sir Hillary. So now we'll move on with looking at how the peer mentoring program will be set up. This will be the structure of the peer mentoring program and why we're doing it. So that's called the terms of reference. So a mentor is anyone who makes a positive, guiding impact on another person's life. Peers are individuals who share some common characteristics, attributes, or circumstances. These may relate to age, ability, interests, etc. You may like to think of the role of peer mentor being a successful consultant. So we'll look at now, what is mentoring? So mentoring is a process of direct transfer of experience and knowledge from one person to another. The resulting relationship is a shared one in both individuals in the partnership have opportunities for growth and development. So mentoring has proven to track record of success, and it's helped improve outcomes related to many of these areas: job skills, life skills, adjust and adapt to new situations or life changes, motivation and self-esteem, friendship, communication and assertiveness skills, problem solving and decision making, conflict resolution, and also strengths. So now we'll move down to what the benefits are for mentoring and the advantages. So mentoring is one of the methods of teaching and developing an individual, where one is more experienced person who is the mentor, share the knowledge and experience with the less experienced person who is the mentee. Usually mentoring is beneficial in the following situations. One is beginners who come to a newly formed group or community, who are new and need to access information in order to gain new skills. Additionally, I need another person's help and support to overcome the challenges of joining a new community. The other situation is where the person has great potential, will have the opportunity for self-development. So we'll look at the process of mentoring and how it can be achieved in 4 different stages. So the first stage is to develop a plan for mentee development. So the value of this stage is setting up the mentee for results necessary to them. So the role of the mentor is to provide limited support to oversee them develop that plan. Number 2, independent learning. At this stage, the role of the mentor is limited to help in non-standard situations and the maintenance of mentees' motivation. Number 3, support. This is the most important stage. During this period, the mentee will most often work with the mentor. However, the experienced mentor should not answer the questions, but only point to the source of the knowledge. Number 4, we evaluate the results. So the evaluation is conducted by the mentee and the mentor and only indicate possible errors in the analysis. So there are the 4 different stages for the mentoring process. So we're going to have an interpreter swap. So before we go to the questions, I'll keep going with the terms of reference. So now we'll look at the benefits of being a mentee and a mentor. So the benefits of being a mentee, it creates confidence, develops mentee skills, mentees learn to speak their point of view or experiences. The benefits of the mentor is the mentor can learn new skills from the mentee, passes on knowledge and experiences, develop leadership and mentoring skills. So I'd like to now give Meredith a go, and she'll talk about more what mentoring is and what mentoring is not. Meredith, would you like to?
Okay. Can I just check if any others have joined us online? I've been getting messages that some can't get in, but I think we need to press on. Craig, have any others joined us?
There's a total of 6 people. So we have Wilma, Paola, Nicola, Jennifer, and Erica.
Oh, great, thank you. We'll just hope the others can make their way on. Thank you. So thank you, David. That's a good background. So I'm going to talk a bit about the different roles that a mentor can play. So mentors bring different skills and will take on different roles at different times in the partnership. So one of the roles a mentor might play is as a facilitator and help to connect or link you with different groups or networks or link you to information. Also as a sounding board to talk things through and help to make decisions or work out a best plan forward. So sort of acting as a guide and perhaps sharing their own experiences, things that helped them or worked for them, which doesn't mean it would work for you, but it's that someone that's taken the path first and can share their own experiences and learnings from that. Also as an ally, someone who's sort of in your corner and providing support if you feel nervous about doing something for the first time. You might be working on a presentation or writing a letter to a politician or something like that, and you're not quite sure. So having someone supporting you, giving you some guidance and advice around how to do it, maybe looking over it, doing a practice run, but also really saying, wow, great job, and being in your corner. So just that providing support and confidence to go out and have a go doing something new. So there are a few things that a mentor is not, and it's important to talk about these things, because if you're a mentor and you feel like the mentoring partnership is starting to go in this certain direction, then you need to sort of put the brakes on and say, I don't think I'm the right person for this. So a mentor is not a counsellor. If someone's having major personal issues or having mental health issues even, and really talking a lot about those sort of mental health problems or problems with their relationship, you might talk about it a little bit, but if it starts to be the main topic that you're talking about, you might want to refer on to a counsellor. It's nice to have a good positive relationship, but a mentor is not necessarily a friend. Like, the mentoring program is not set up to make new friends. You might have a goal to extend your friendship networks, but the mentor would support you in ways to do that. The mentor wouldn't necessarily become a friend. It's possible that you would become a friend, but that is not the main aim of it. And it was interesting, I read today that a mentoring program is not a place to meet a romantic partner. That is not the purpose or point of a mentoring program. A mentor should also not be a lending agency. We wouldn't be asking for loans of money from a mentor. So just a few boundaries there. Another thing to consider is that a mentor is not a supervisor. So in your work, if you're needing a lot of support or assistance with your work, that would be more something you would need to talk to your boss or your supervisor about. But a mentor can be a sounding board for things happening at work, but not the direct processes at work. That would be more for a supervisor. A mentor also is not a social worker. Like, they're not going to fill that counselling role or that sort of linking to agencies. So that's, sort of what a mentor is and isn't. I did get a question today, which was a great question, and the person asked, what is the legal responsibility of a mentor? Like, if a mentee does something that the mentor said and they get into trouble, is there any legal implications for the mentor? Which, that's a really great question. And it's important to always reflect upon what your mentor says. Mentors are human and they don't know everything. You can't expect the mentor to have all the answers. The mentor is there to guide and support you and steer you in the right direction. But it's good to also get ideas from other places. And if a mentor ever said something to you that didn't sound quite right, you might go off and get some more information about it. So it's not the mentor's responsibility to have all the answers, and you wouldn't just accept anything a mentor says as absolutely the gospel truth. You might want to get a second opinion. So I hope that answers that question, and we will certainly be taking more questions after this. I just had another thought about another role of a mentor. Anyway, it will come back to me. So the next step when you're matched is a fundamental process is establishing trust. So in that first stage, really being reliable and setting up times and being respectful. I think a key thing to remember in mentoring is that we all learn in different ways, and have different communication styles, which we'll be talking a lot more about next week. But just starting to get to know each other and getting to know each other's personal styles. So setting up regular times for meeting and starting to get a sense of how the partnership is going to work best for the two of you. And realising that just because you learn a certain way or do things a certain way, your mentee might prefer to do things in a different way, which is fine. It's just looking at how it's going to work best for the two of you. So just a final comment. David and I are going to send you out the information that we're covering today. So we'll send you the story about Edmund Hillary at Mount Everest, but we'll also send you all of this information as well that goes into a bit of detail. And there is a list at the end of the document about different places to go for support if it's a bit outside the mentoring partnership, because often when you're in discussion, other things will come up and there might be better places to go for the support. So in the first instance, if you get stuck and you're not sure what to do in the mentoring partnership, the best thing is to contact David or myself, or unless you are very clear on where you need to send them. If you've got some questions that you're not sure about, do get in touch with David or myself. We're your first point of contact in the program. But if it's a medical issue that the person is asking about, the best thing is for them to contact their GP. If it's a mental health or a counselling issue, it would be best to contact a counsellor or mental health professional. And the mentor might have some ideas about how to go about that, even if you're not sure how to connect with a counsellor or a mental health professional. Or David and I can help you with that also. There's a whole list of different organisations that might be useful, which includes the NDIA, the National Disability Insurance Agency, and also some other advocacy organisations and just services that would be relevant and useful for people with deaf blindness. So I'll open it up for questions now. That's a lot of information that we've given you. So just bearing in mind that in the next session, we're going to get a lot more into the communication side of things and different communication styles. And we will send you all the information before the next session so you can read through, and then that will help to prompt some questions. And we'd like you to start thinking about your own communication style and how you like to receive information. And then the next week will be all about goal setting. But just thinking about the things that we've said today, does anybody have any questions? So if you can click on the raise hand, that will be best. And you can, Craig can unmute you and you can ask your question, or you can sign your question. So if Craig says who it is, I'll know if we need just the audio or the video. So you can click Alt-Y, which raises your hand, or just find the button and click on the raise hand. So any questions about anything we've covered? Craig?
No raised hands at the moment or comments, so keep pushing.
Okay, great. So I think, one of the main things is just once you're matched, getting in there and getting started, establishing that relationship. We do have a case study that will highlight how a mentoring relationship can come about and how it can evolve and the benefits. We'll just swap interpreters. Okay, so we'll hand back to David to do the case study. Is that okay? Yeah.
Hello everyone. I hope that you can all hear me okay. My voice is clear. And just what Meredith was saying, this is our first program, so feel feel free to, contribute any feedback along the way and what might work best for you. Because we always can change how we can make it work. And it's important to try and read the materials when you get them, so you can understand exactly what your expectations are, your roles as a mentee and as a mentor. So it'll be a wonderful program for every one of you here. It's online. So I've now got my laptop open. You can see the more light in my face. And I'm going to talk about the case study, about what mentoring and a mentor relationship looks like. So this case study is about Tom. So Tom is a 21-year-old deafblind man who at the age of 19 had a medical condition that meant he began to lose sight in both eyes. By the time he was 21, his vision had deteriorated rapidly. Tom had completed high school and taken a gap year where he travelled and worked odd jobs in the UK and Canada. He returned around the same time his medical condition was diagnosed and had spent the next 2 years receiving medical treatment and doing casual work. Tom decided that he wanted to go to university and study, and he approached university and applied. He was accepted and began to prepare for his first year. As Tom had not received any educational support at school and was ill-equipped to understand what support was available to him, he contacted the university disability support team and was offered his uni orientation and some in-class and team support. This was a great assistance in getting Tom orientated and learning how to get around. After a few weeks, Tom was learning a lot in class and was struggling to keep up with the homework and essays. He was also sitting by himself and at meal times and not talking to anyone. He approached his university disability support team and told them he thought about withdrawing from the course. It was too hard to do all the work and learn how to use JAWS and other assistive technology at the same time. The uni support team suggested to speak to another student by the name of Anthony. So Anthony was a 25-year-old man who had been born deaf and his vision deteriorated since he was 11, and gone to the same local school and recently applied at the same university. Anthony was very well connected within the community and had lots of family and social support. He was a confident young man who had learned much about his local area, had been part of a social group and loved to swim every day. Anthony started university and soon learned how to navigate the classrooms and communicate with staff, students, and able to come to to do some of his course contents online. But he really enjoyed the social aspect of uni and made friends quite quickly. He linked support to his classes and exams. Anthony fell into his university life easily and looked forward to attending class each week. The supports contacted Anthony and explained Tom's situation and asked if Anthony would be interested in mentoring Tom. Anthony agreed and was introduced to Tom. They hit off right away. With a similar interest in swimming and social life, they chatted at lunchtime and met after class to talk about how to use technology and some tips, tricks, and life hacks that Anthony had learned along the way. Tom would save all his questions for his weekly meeting with Anthony and got easily excited to know that all the barriers he came up against each week, that he could often speak with Anthony and learn some really practical ways around them. After a few months, Tom had learnt how to use JAWS. He had grown in confidence and made friends within his course. Tom's mum, Wendy, reported to the university team that he's been so worried that Tom was against some real difficulty and wondered how he would have succeeded in the future, but reported that the peer mentoring was so valuable and she has seen the change in his attitude and he was excited about his future now. Wendy said that she and Tom had spoken to a variety of support services and had some formal supports put in place. But the relationship with Anthony was different and had offered him much more. He was able to ask questions of someone his own age who had experienced similar things and even shared about life and dating. Things he had felt he could do with a support, things he had not felt he could do with a support worker. So in this instance, peer mentoring has many benefits. It's building confidence, learning information, improving access, understanding technology, age-appropriate relationships, friendship, social interests, and also improve mental health. So that's an overview of examples of peer mentoring and how it can impact both of your lives, particularly the mentee who wish to learn skills in whatever area in life they like to build confidence in. So that's something you can think about throughout the course when you learn more about how it can build up these skills, particularly with communication So I'd like to maybe ask Meredith if there's any other questions, and to the people online, that you have any questions about peer mentoring and what it might, how it might work for you. Or any other related questions that you're not sure about.
Hi, it's Craig. There's no hands up or no comments, so no one's asking questions.
Got another thing to say.
I'll now hand you over to Meredith.
Craig, how many people are online at the moment?
We have 7.
So is anyone new joined?
Nicholas Stove, maybe. Oh, Wilma has a hand up. How would we like to talk to Wilma?
Yes, if you can unmute Wilma.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello, Wilma.
Okay. When David was talking about these guys helping in the university, and I'm thinking, I haven't done anything. What can I help with?
It's Meredith speaking. So I think through the course of this training, it will help, especially when we do the goal setting. We will be sending out some questionnaires and some checklists, and when you all go through those things, they will help maybe to develop some goals. So Wilma, I personally know that you have done a lot, but perhaps there are goals that you want to work on as well. I think for all of us in our life, we can benefit from being a mentee or a mentor. There's a lot to be gained from both roles. So through the course of the workshops, I think we'll get clearer on which role we feel we want to move into. The program is, we're mainly aiming to have people with deaf blindness being mentored. So people with deaf blindness setting their goals and being supported by people with single sensory impairments who have often had more opportunities that can help support and lead people with deaf blindness.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I think a mentor also can help you to, can ask you questions to help you reflect on all that you do have to offer. I think sometimes we have a lot more to offer than we think. I've remembered the thing that I wanted to say before. Another role of a mentor is to act as a role model. So as a mentor, it's important to remember that every single interaction you have and all of your actions are being observed by somebody. So really reflecting upon how you want to present, even basic things like always being organised and on time and prepared for the session, things like that set a really good example and a good standard to the mentee. So being a role model in all that you do in your life actually makes a big difference to the mentee, because they're watching you and they learn just by following your example and being a leader by managing yourself well in the world. So if there's no other questions, I can give an example. I've certainly had a lot of experience being both a mentee and a mentor in my life, and can share some of those experiences. But I'll just check if there's any other questions or comments at this point. I'll leave plenty of time so people can find the chat or the raise hand button.
Yeah, no more raised hands. Karen has joined us, but that's about the only change. Okay, so I guess I wanted to share an experience I've had as a mentee. So this mentor, I guess I observed her and was always impressed, and I guess this goes back to the role model, that this person was always very considered and really really listened to anything that I said or to what other people said, and, you know, didn't make a snap decision, but asked lots of questions to really work out what was the best way forward. And I guess that set a very good model and example for me to follow. And I know that through spending time with her, I got better at thinking, how would that person do this? What would they think in this situation? So just by, often the mentor doesn't have the answers, but it's through, they help you to work it out together, which is what this mentor did for me. It was the way they asked me questions and took on the information and came up with different options of ways forward. So you don't always have to have the answer. Often it's just through a conversation and through asking questions that you can come up with the best way forward for the individual. Because, like I said before, we're all different. So in my role as a speech pathologist, I've mentored quite a lot of speech pathology, other younger speech pathologists, and a key role there has been linking them in with networks and groups. So a mentor is someone who has more experience and has been around for a while, so has developed their own network. So that's an important role of a mentor, is to link people to other resources or groups that are available that the mentee might not be aware of, and particularly to information. So knowing where to find information and how to go about finding information is an important role of a mentor. So it was quick for me because I knew all those links were out there, so I could just go to them and send them through to the mentee, so then they could find that information and put that into their resources. So it's building up their resources and their knowledge, and having a place to go back to get information when they need it. I'd be happy to hear just interpreter swap. It's likely that just incidentally in your life you have acted as a mentee or mentor before, even if it wasn't called that. So I'd be interested to hear from people if they have had experiences of being mentored before or mentoring somebody. It might have just, often it happens naturally. You don't need to be part of a program. Like there are natural leaders or people who support you on your way in your life. So I'd be really keen to hear from people if they've got an experience of mentoring already that they'd be willing to share.
Wilma has a hand up again. Would you like to talk to Wilma? Or we have Nicola. Let's talk to Nicola.
Let's go with Wilma and go to Nicola.
Hi.
Is that Wilma? Or
No,
Nicola?
Nicola. This is Nicola.
Okay. What did you have to share with us, Nicola?
So for me, it's a small incident, but when I was in Guards, which is like Salvation Army Girl Guides, I could not go on a hike because I also have physical disability. But the leader, after she helped me with doing some of my badges while the other girls were out hiking, also taught me how to have fun. What she did was, we went into some of the girls' rooms and she tied their bed sheets together. The next day, I learned also about how fun can backfire, and the next day my leader's socks were up the flagpole.
Oh dear. So can you clarify? I got a bit lost. So who put the socks up the flagpole?
The other girls, to get her back for doing their sheets.
Right. Okay. That is really important, that a mentor, if they see someone being very serious and taking everything very seriously,
to come up with a light-hearted way of helping to engage and connect with other people. That's a really nice example, Nicola, and very creative example of helping you connect when everybody else was out and about, that's then a joke that you can all share later. That's a really nice example. Thank you. And that's a good point. Sometimes it can be just a one-off incident where somebody has sort of supported and led you in a good direction. But I guess the benefit of a mentoring program and having an ongoing relationship is you can really develop a knowledge of each other and work together over time to achieve goals. Lovely point. Thank you, Nicola. I really appreciate you sharing that. Thank you. And so now, Craig, can you unmute Wilma?
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. I don't know what I can call it mentoring, but as you know, I live in a retirement village, and there have been 2 deafblind people that I've been talking to that I felt would benefit from moving into a retirement village. And I could be quite forceful, especially one particular case with somebody who moved in the village next door, who is deafblind and in a wheelchair. And I talked with him for 2 hours the first time because he wanted to go into care. And I said, no, you don't want to go into care. And once he had a look there, he decided, no, that's not what I want. And so I had to make him aware of the option of moving into independent living in a retirement village. So he has done that, really, really happy with the results. And I talked to somebody else about it who lives over in Victoria and eventually moved into a retirement village, also very happy. So if that, I don't know whether that falls under mentoring, it's more me bloody badgering them, I think. Yeah, okay, that's me.
Wilma, thank you. I think that is another excellent example. So we've had a nice example from Nicola where she was the mentee, but I think that it's great, Wilma, that you can recognise that you were a mentor and did have something to offer in that situation. And I think there's that element of role modelling, but also providing information, which is a big key role of a mentor. To provide information about the benefits and the opportunities of living in a retirement village for a person with deaf blindness and how that can work. Wilma, I think you've also brought up another really good point, that it's not the role of a mentor to tell the person what to do and keep telling them until they do it. And I know you didn't do that.
I did.
I know that you would have accepted if they didn't, but I think it's a good point that we offer suggestions. Everything is only a suggestion, and that there's never an expectation that the person will do what you say. That is definitely not the role of a mentor, is to dictate how the person needs to respond. And really the role of a mentor is to do yourself out of a job. It's to give the person the skills and confidence to form their own networks and make their own decisions and practice making decisions and look at, decision-making processes and having enough information to make the decisions, so that down the track that they're not needing that support from the mentor. So you would never want to be in the place where the mentee feels like they need to run everything past you, or must do what you say, which I know that's not what happened, Wilma, but I think you a bad. I'm sure that's you're just joking, but it's an important point that it's all an open discussion, and that there's no expectations, that the mentor is there to support and guide and provide information. And that's a great example, that you kept providing enough information until the person felt they had enough information to make an informed decision. So really great example, Wilma. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Maybe Wilma and Nicola's examples have triggered other people. And, you know, Nicola and Wilma, you have both been role models now, because it can be scary to talk online in front of everybody. So thank you for modelling that for everybody. Craig, is there any other hands up or any other chat? So just a reminder, you can click Alt-Y on your keyboard to put your hand up, or click on raised hand, or Alt-H to talk in the chat, or just type in the box.
It's all clear at the moment, no hands or comments.
Take no news as good news. We'll allow just another minute.
Hang on. Jennifer just put her hand up. I'll let you talk to Jennifer.
Jennifer. So you'll need to unmute Jennifer. There'll be a button that pops up that you need to click on.
Jennifer is unmuted, but yeah, I don't know why we can't hear her.
So Craig will unmute you, but then it will say you need to unmute your microphone. A little dialogue box will open, Jennifer, for you to click on. Or you might need to click on your microphone button. Hello, Jennifer. Or you could type your message.
Yeah, she's having some problems because I unmute her and then she keeps muting herself, so she's struggling with something.
Ah. So maybe just leave it for a moment. So just unmute again.
Yeah, I would move on. She's having some technical problems.
Okay. Maybe Jennifer, if you're able to type in the chat box your comment or question, or we'll come back to you at the end and see if we can get on. Is there anyone else with their hand up, or no other questions or comments in the chat?
No.
Okay. David, did you have any final thoughts or comments?
Yep. Hello everyone, it's David again. I think, you know, if you're thinking about the program and how it will affect you and you're not sure about the goals, you can still think about this as we get further through the program. And I think having the discussion like we do online will help you open up and think how you'd like to improve skills in any area of your life. So with examples I've experienced through mentoring, it's occurred to me naturally, and you know, asking for support with my my job with Deafblind Australia. I've sought some mentoring support, some structured mentoring support, and just some natural mentoring support, which helped me build the skills and confidence in my role with Deafblind Australia. And one of the examples is learning how to write financial reports, which is something about numbers I don't know about, and how that would fit in with DBA as an organisation. So learning the confidence to do that on my own is something that I've developed. And, you know, there's something, you know, similar that you might want to do with your own life, and this will come up to you later on in the program. So for now, we'll just be learning about what your expectations are as a mentee and as a mentor, and what you can do to work together as a team. So you're really guiding each other. And if a mentor, as Meredith said, if a mentor doesn't know about what to do, they can ask the mentee or the person with deaf blindness the questions of how they can work with them better. So it's a mutual support both ways. You're learning the skill to develop skill. And in turn, when the mentee, like myself, I was a mentee, I became a mentor where I built leadership. I built my voice of knowing how to provide the information, provide the knowledge to another person who's seeking that knowledge. So I've mentored many deafblind people who would like to develop those skills. And one example is working with computers and knowing how to navigate around the web page or how the features work. And you provide them that guidance to enable them to do it themselves. So it's important that you show them how it's done, you provide them the information, and then you watch them do it. Or you can watch the mentor demonstrate that activity or how to do that skill. And then the mentee will carry on with that skill themselves. And then we'll be here as a mentor to back you up and give you that further guidance if you need. So there's something to think about how this mentoring support works, and further down the program it will come to you a bit more clearer, and how we can structure yourself and have a more more structured program to help you build those skills and confidence. So please feel free to put your hand up virtually, and any other questions about the role of mentees, including the mentors, about how you might think it will work for you.
It's Meredith. Can we try and get Jennifer? Is Jennifer typed in the chat?
No, Jennifer's not mentioning in the chat, but her mic is unmuted, so I don't know why we can't hear her, but yeah. Ask her if she can talk.
Yeah, there might not be a microphone on the actual device that's being used, or it might be muted or something.
Anyway, beyond that, there's no hands up or further comments.
Okay.
Okay.
Just let's say we will email out the information.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up for today, and we appreciate you being part of the online course, and hope you've learned a little bit about mentoring and what the expectations are, and the case study and the structure of the program. And Meredith and I will gather the documents for what we covered today to send them out, email to you all, and you can have a read through, have a look at the information, and please feel free to ask us any questions along the way. We're here to support you along the way, and we're going to go through most of the theory stuff, the information, the background, how the mentoring works, and then from there on we can get into the practical stages. So I hope you're enjoying your time, and thank you very much for being part of the program, and please feel free to email us for any information. So thank you, Meredith, for everything and working together with myself, and it's going to be a wonderful program, so feel free to email us. Thank you. Do we have any last minute questions before we go?
No comments, no hands.
Okay. Just it's Meredith speaking. Thank you, David. Thank you to the interpreters, Sarah and Dennis. Thanks to Lee for captioning, and thanks to Craig for doing the back end on the technology. We'll see you all next Wednesday, same time, with hopefully a few more online then as well.
Bye-bye.